Yep. JJ, thank you so much. Any chance we get T. Higgins, and smash that like button. You know what? I'm gonna say probably not. I don't think that T. Higgins is looking at about 30 million a year. I don't think we're paying him that. I think we have too many other holes to fill. I think that Washington can make a serious run on him because they have a lot of money. I'm sure the Giants will inquire, but I don't see him being a Giant. Oh, Joanna, what do you think?
I agree. I would love him. I think it would be great, but I think that he supposedly has said that he would maybe take a pay cut to stay with the Bengals. I think you're going to have teams like the Commanders, the Patriots, the Bears. You're going to have other teams in contention that have a shitload more money than the Giants do and a lot less holes that I don't see it happening.
Anthony, what do you think?
I saw the screenshot today of Malik Neighbors and Isaiah Simmons were on the phone with T. Higgins, and so there's speculation that they're trying to recruit him to the Giants, but the Giants are one of the least attractive options, in my opinion, if you're T. Higgins. Going from Joe Burrow to a complete unknown at quarterback, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, Isaiah Simmons is not going to be here next year.
Yeah, right. He's an unrestricted free agent. But he is friends, I guess, with T. Higgins because they played at Clemson together. But yeah, I don't even think he's going to be on the Giants next year. But I do think it's worth clarifying because I saw somebody in the chat ask it, what is the Giants salary cap number? According to Over the Cap, the Giants are projected to have $43 million in salary cap space this offseason.
Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the main reason, I do think the Giants are going to sign a wide receiver and free agent. Like a pretty good one. I don't know who. Maybe it's Godwin coming. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't think it'll be Higgins. But I think the biggest reason, the money aside, because I do think the Giants would be interested in Higgins because ultimately Joe Schoen knows he's going to be judged on this quarterback. He's going to want to set that quarterback up as well as he possibly can. And getting a legitimate number 2 wide receiver opposite Malik Neighbors is going to assist in that. But I think it's for the main reason that Anthony said, like the other options are so much better for a guy like T. Higgins. You don't know what Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders are going to be. You've seen what Drake May potentially could be for a year. That's probably more attractive than a complete unknown. As well as the Washington, you saw what Jaden Daniels looked like. You get to be that guy's number 1 option for the next 5 years. That's a much more attractive offer. Not to mention Washington has more money to spend. So yeah, even though I think the Giants would have interest in Higgins if he wanted to come here, I don't think we're going to be his number 1 spot. But I do think the Giants will sign a wide receiver and they'll spend at least, like Anthony said, in that $15 to $18 million range. I think they'll prioritize that position in free agency.
Bob, thank you. Says, I don't think it'll happen, but would or should the Giants take Eli up on his offer to scout quarterbacks for the upcoming draft? Chris, what do you think?
Let me just read that. I don't think it'll happen, but would or should the Giants take Eli up on his offer to help scout? I mean, I see no reason not to. I mean, he's a he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He knows the position as well as most people. So I don't see any reason why they wouldn't at least, ask for his opinion. That doesn't mean he's going to make the pick or have a heavy influence on the quarterback that they choose, but why not use all the tools that you have? I see no reason not to ask for his opinion.
And the only rebuttal that I ever hear whenever I say the Giants should ask Eli for help, they say, oh, but he liked Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones came from the Mannings. Okay, but he was on the football team.
That's what I said.
You know what I mean? He wasn't watching film on Daniel Jones. He just knew him.
Assuming the Giants draft Ward, Sanders, Dart, or Milroe, what free agent quarterback would you like to pair with each of the 4 drafted quarterbacks? I think we discussed that earlier. I'm pretty sure we'd all be comfortable with Jameis Winston. Is there somebody else you would prefer?
Well, what I'll say to that, Bad Dog, I don't think I'm changing my opinion on this. Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders is going to be a New York Giant. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be Jackson Dart. I don't think it's going to be Jalen Miller. I think they're taking a quarterback with the 3rd pick, or they're trading up to get one to ensure they get one of those 2 guys. That's what I honestly believe. But in the scenario where that doesn't happen, and they end up with Jalen Miller or Jackson Dart in the 2nd round or the 3rd round or whatever it may be, I actually think you go more the Justin Fields route. I would rather have a guy that could potentially become a long-term starter, or at least have the possibility to become a long-term starter. I think the value of a Jameis Winston is he's a guy that's a veteran that's been around the league, that's not going to embarrass you for 6 to 8 weeks. He could show the ropes to the number 1 or number 3 overall pick or whatever it may be. So I do actually think you probably try to target a quarterback with more of a ceiling if you go the 2nd or 3rd round route at the quarterback position.
Either one of you guys think there's somebody better than Jameis Winston?
Fields is my only other.
Fields.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you trade for one. I don't know who would become available, but
Yeah.
If Stafford does become available, you make the trade for Stafford, but I don't think he's going to become available. I know that was mentioned earlier. I think he'd rather retire than upend his life. And
yeah, why would you want to get killed on the Giants?
Yeah, why? I mean, you're solidified. You're a Hall of Famer. You just won a Super Bowl with the Rams a few years ago. I don't see any incentive for Stafford to leave, especially.
Why would you? Yeah, I agree.
The Giants coming off of a 3-14 season, it doesn't make sense.
I was going to say, if you're Stafford, why would you want to go to a rebuild?
Right.
At this point in your career, if you're going anywhere, you want to go somewhere where you think you can win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You're not going somewhere to start over at
Yeah.
this point in your career.